Aren't you like a dancer? Don't you want to dance?
Not in the dancing mood.
The following day, after that little skirmish you had the night before with the Kenku, it's just as hot as the days before, and you see all the way along the trail along this coast that other people are starting to pack up and head out on their respective ways. Can I get a quick spot check from everyone as you're setting up camp?
Yeah,
No.
Inza, can we...
Inza, let's get a spot check from you, -20.
Yeah.
It might still be better than mine, honestly, because I get -2.
Yeah, it can. Yeah,
Let's
look.
see what we have
Well,
here.
no,
Oh,
yeah, actually-
23. Spotting hard.
I was actually joking about that, Inza. Let's just get like a listen check out of you. Since you're blind, you should have a little bit better hearing.
That's 9, so.
All right, so Valerian's going to be the one to pick up on this with a whopping 23. But the trail you're following runs right along the Calim Desert, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, looking out into the Calim Desert while you are getting prepared, there's this kind of brownish, goldish haze off in the distance, just like right on the rim of where the desert meets the sky for your vision.
Like I pointed out to the party. Well, good we avoided the desert. Looks like a sandstorm to me. Maybe eats one's flesh.
Is it headed this direction?
From the distance you all are at, and since none of you are from a naturally desertous region, we're gonna assume you all aren't quite sure about that.
Can we do a survival check and maybe?
Yeah, if you all want to.
Sure. Survival is
survival,
wisdom,
right?
right?
Mm-hmm.
I
I
guess you
also
can
don't
do
have
it.
survival. You can 14.
4.
Wait.
4.
Garzhvog is unknowledgeable about sandstorms. Let's just leave it at that.
All right. Between Valerian and Inza, both of you are kind of like, licking your finger, holding up in the air, and you get the feeling if it's not heading in your direction, it's heading in a nearby direction. So you all are at the receiving end of whatever it is coming through the desert right now. However, you don't know how quickly it's moving, when it could possibly hit the coastline. It's just, you're in its possible path.
Do we know if it's like typical in this region or it's like unusual?
Especially talking around, because this is a bit of a magical desert, it's probably
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
it's a little bit more common than hurricanes. So we'd say maybe 7, 8, maybe up to 10 to 15 a year come rolling through. And then there's also, of course, the smaller ones that don't do quite as much damage. But if you can see this one from the distance that you're at right now, it's probably a good one.
So yeah, it covers like the entire horizon. So even if we keep traveling, we're probably gonna get hit by it. Do I understand that correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Well, can we get to the
Shelter?
city? Like,
Anything?
Well, you can actually go and try to talk to some of the travelers for that sort of information. And lucky you all, heading towards you all, is a rather larger caravan. And unlike the others that had mostly just Kalishites or the occasional gold dwarf with them, this is a very hearty mixture of fire and air Genasi, along with a few Kalishites. And so they look like very knowledgeable natives if you want to stop and chat with them about it all.
Yeah, of course. Why not? Let's do some diplomacy.
Let's wave them down.
So these people look particularly poor compared to the merchants and the other people you've seen traveling along. They look pretty hardy, so if anything, they might be natives from along the Calim River, or maybe even out from the desert that have just hopped onto this trail as a quicker way to get to Calimsport. And among all of them, you see someone that you might figure to be their leader, or at least their guide, and it's a very, very, very old Air Genasi. And he actually has no legs, and he's just sitting kind of like side saddle on one of their few camels that they have in their caravan.
All right, I approach. Like, does everyone look like he's willing to talk, or do they ignore us? Or
Yeah, everyone on the trails has been quite friendly, in fact, and
Except those birds.
except for the birds, of course.
Mhm.
And if you all show
Fucking
any
birds.
inclination of wanting to stop and chat, the folks in this little caravan, they seem pretty apt to it. And they even, once you start getting up to them, they start stopping, people getting off their few camels they have, starting to set up what looks like maybe a small morning meal, and they invite you to come and share with them.
Oh yeah, sure, we appreciate it.
Mhm.
Greetings, fellow travelers. I'm sure you're already aware, but there's a massive storm coming our way. Like, I just nod over in the direction. And wait if they say anything, and if they don't, I continue.
So the older man, two of the more strapping Fire Genocide boys walk over and they help pull him down from the camel, and they set him down on a couple of mats, and they gesture for you all to take a seat around him, kind of like guests of honor, if it had been a dinner table instead of just a series of small cold meals being eaten. And he
Sure.
takes a look out into the desert and he goes, "Oh yeah, that one does seem to be quite a bad one coming our way, doesn't it? I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch your names. What were they?"
I'm Valerion. These are my comrades, Fate, Inza, and Garzhvog. We are traveling direction north towards the mountains. As you can see, we're fairly new in this desert climate. Do you have any idea or suggestion where we could find shelter for the storm, or do you think it can be traveled through?
Yeah, you all do certainly not look like natives like my family and such. At this point, he's going to take a chance to introduce himself. His name is Calim, and his people are of the Burning Sands clan.
Hmm.
Yeah. And before he says, "Well, let's save the business for later. That storm has quite a ways off to go. But please eat." And he actually pulls out a couple of wine skins, and he takes a really long pull from it, and he starts passing it to you all.
Yeah, I take a small sip.
All right, and the rest of you want to take a drink?
I drink from my own water.
Yeah, I'll take a drink. I'll take a drink. I'll take a swig. Garzhvog can have a good time.
All right, and it looks like that this wineskin is just going to make a constant pass around the group. Some kind of little communal thing that they like to do.
Like before I eat, I fake as if I speak prayers to Tyr, but I cast actually detect evil, and probe the group.
Okay. Seeing that you're making some kind of prayer, the rest of the people in the group, they bow their heads as a little sign of deference to whatever god you're worshiping. In terms of sensing evil, none of these people feel evil.
Excellent.
In fact, they seem to
satisfied.
kind of, especially from the older man, Kalek, he has this very, not overwhelming, but he has a very good vibe coming off from like good or well-intended.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. All right, I eat.
It's not a good sign.
What?
He's not trustworthy. We should kill him.
Do they carry any full plates or masterwork?
I can sense goodness in here.
Yeah. I'm actually going to throw one of my some of my rations into the mix for everybody to eat, just because they're so nice as to share.
Okay. Yeah, and they do
Aw.
appreciate that. So now you got quite a bit of bread, cheeses, a few dates, and other kinds of fruit and berries
Uh-huh.
passing around at this point.
And I'm playing my violin like while everyone is eating.
Mm-hmm. And a couple of the Fire Genocide, one or two of the Kalishites will pull out small instruments, either drums, flutes, the occasional lute, things like that, and they'll join in with you. So it's quite a little merry thing going on right now.
I can't take all of this, so I take my food and just got the borders turned to the distance.
All of this friendship and communion, you can't just stomach it.
Aren't you like a dancer? Don't you want to dance?
Not in the dancing mood.
Okay, let's see how good my song is. 24. I guess I'm the
24.
best there.
Yeah, so everyone seems to really appreciate it. And it's after enjoying the song and the food for a while, so probably after wasting a good hour and a half to 2 hours just sitting there and everyone just having a good old time. It's fine, and then that Kalek turns to you and goes, "So you all said you were looking for someplace to hide out from the storm?"
Yeah, that would help, I guess.
Or at least knowledge as to how to travel through it, should it
Yeah,
encounter
we're
us.
traveling towards the mountains. Oh, well.
And says, "Well, if you're heading towards the marches, then you're definitely going to run into this storm. Word to the wise: don't be out in it. It's a very poor plan to make. If you were looking for some place to stay, you could always, in the worst cases, just dig into the side of a dune and possibly put up a little tent around you. But even then, you're kind of risking getting buried. I would say the best place you could probably find to stay is all throughout the desert and the rim of the desert. There's quite a few old ruins from back when the genies used to preside over these lands. If you could find one of them, it'd be fairly safe shelter, and I'm sure there's other people along the trail that might know where one or two of these are.
That sounds a time for bardic knowledge to find ruins.
Yeah, time. Inza,
Like,
here,
they
haven't
already
you?
know, so,
Yeah, I assume these guys were you taking
Yeah,
cover.
20.
Well, I guess
20.
Inza knows one.
Yeah, it's like uncommon but available. Known
Mhm.
by only a few people in the area. Ta-da.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so there are the occasional old building.
You're cutting again.
One of the ones that you have an idea for is with some of the information that you've heard when you were on your way to the Kalasham, is that there are several people that don't live in the major cities or the settlements in Kalasham. They live out in small little communes with themselves. One of the ones you've heard is a group of these kind of people that they're very good craftsmen, and they live in a very long series of these old ruins. They lived a little bit on the edge of the desert. Probably wouldn't be more than an hour and a half trek from the trail. If you have a rough idea of where it is, and if it is uncovered, you should be able to find it. And if it is there, it should be more than enough shelter to be able to ride out the storm in.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, I tell that to I do in fact know about some place.
How long did you say we need there to get there?
If you started heading out shortly from where you are, you have to ride down the trail probably another 4 or 5 hours, and then it's an extra hour and a half out into the desert to be able
Holy
to find
shit,
it.
we gotta go. Then,
Mhm.
yeah.
Well,
We
I mean,
tell
a
the
bit
fire
far.
djinn of the Burning Sands that their company was much appreciated, and we thank them for the hospitality. But we have to reach the ruin. Well, actually, when do they think the storm will hit?
oh, it won't hit till the next morning at worst.
Oh.
So that's why they're not too concerned, and they're still sitting there eating and having a good old time. That wine skin's still passing around. And do you want to share this information with him? See if he knows anything about it?
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I probably said that out loud anyway, so
Mhm. Oh, and he goes, really? Where did you hear that from?
some travelers in Calim port and outside the town.
Hmm.
You know, you hear stories.
Really?
Why? Is that surprising?
Well, no, I never thought the Burning Sands got word out that far.
I'm a good listener.
Really? Well, I'm glad to hear our craftsmanship got heard about.
I think he's expecting us to be surprised that he's from the Burning Sands.
Yeah,
We're
man,
just talking
I
about.
was surprised and I forced myself not to say anything, and just like big blank.
Yeah.
And like, why didn't you say like anything sooner? It's like, I guess I would say, I'm like, why didn't you tell us then?
Oh, well, I don't know if that's quite the best place to be going to, if you're trying to find somewhere safe to be.
Why, do you know a better place?
Well, no, but our home it has new tenants now. I suppose the best thing to say. I don't know why. There are some people out in the desert that aren't quite as friendly as me and mine. We made a nice, healthy living with craftsmanship, enchanting items, maybe occasionally going and exploring some of the older ruins that would become uncovered, and it was a good life. But a few months ago, we got attacked, and those that weren't killed were taken off, and I don't know whether or not it was planned, but those people that were taken off were some of our better craftsmen. And shortly after that, the raids kept coming more and more frequently, and then in the end, we decided it'd be better off for us to leave rather than stand there and make the fight. And I'm
So
assuming they
you-
took over our home by now.
Oh. So none of your people are back there?
No, you're looking at the last of the Burning Sands clan, and he gestures around, and for the word clan, this is probably 15, 17 people at the very most, and some of those people that you're counting are very small children, or like him, they're incredibly elderly.
And did the rest of you get killed or captured?
A good deal of our more brash clan were killed off, but the better craftsmen, my brother, and a couple of the Kalishites that live with us, they were taken.
You know where?
No. I mean, the slave trade is strong in Kalisham, so it's not surprising that they would be, that people like them would be out hunting down folks. But to come after us, I mean, we had a little bit of a name around these parts. Like, that was either incredibly stupid or incredibly brave of them to come after us. I mean, though we were chased away, we took quite a few of them with us. In terms of killing them is what he means. So by all means, if you feel up to the challenge, I'm not sure how many would be in that old ruin of a home of ours, but if you could, it'd be much appreciated seeing them get their just desserts, I suppose.
Do you have any weapons that might aid us? Masterfully crafted weapons? Heavy armor?
Plate mail.
We might,
Oh,
I suppose,
please continue.
but that'd be only if we'd have some assurance that you were going to go there and show these men that the burning sands were not to be toyed with.
You have my word as a paladin of Tyr. And I have never broken my word.
And we don't have much of a choice if we don't want to stay in the storm, do we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Garzhvog chuckles and looks at him. He holds up his palm and lets this green fire just emit in his hand and says, "We'll take care of them."
Do you have any number? How many can we expect there?
Oh, I'm not quite sure now after the amount that we killed off, but I don't know. Maybe a few more than us, but even then they might be hurt. We didn't leave our home undefended. We left a few little surprises for them. I mean, you don't attack craftsmen without expecting to find a few odds and ends left behind.
Would you like to accompany us? Then you would have proof with your own eyes.
And you could return to your home.
And you could help.
No. Unfortunately, it seems... Well, I mean, he does seem pretty sad about it. He says, no, unfortunately, as much as we would like to go home, without our craftspeople there to bring trade to us, to give us a means to live by, the desert's an unkind place. I think after all this time, it's about right for the Burning Sands to finally go and join the city folk.
Very well, then give us this parting gift of good weaponry and be assured that we will take to good use to slay those who took you home.
Okay.
And enslaved your people.
All right. Well, he gestured to some of the other the genocide to go to the camels and start unpacking a few things. While they're doing that, he goes, unfortunately, we do have to try to establish ourselves within the city and have a means so we're not completely destitute when we get there. So we can't give you quite as much as we'd like to, but we hope that these will do it. And with that, he kind of snaps his fingers and he gestures, and the men come up and they have 2 rolls. The first one they unroll, and there's this very beautiful scimitar, just finely crafted. The blade is almost like a razor's edge to it, and the handle looks like it's been embroidered with gold and other small, like lapis lazuli, other minorly precious weapons, things like, or gems, things like that. And he pulls it up, and he holds it out, and he goes, well, to be quite honest, I'm not quite sure who should take this, whether it's the paladin here or you. And he gestures to Garzhvog, this big hulking monstrosity of a...
Do you have martial weapon proficiency as an orc?
No.
No, it doesn't.
Yes!
No, not in that. I have a great axe in javelin proficiency as an orc from the north, but that's
Sweet, that limits the choice of who it will.
Why did we buy a masterwork longsword?
We didn't buy one.
Oh,
You all
Yeah, we
decided to
dropped
back
it
up
for
on
the
that.
wand.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I don't have weapon focus, so I can take all the cool gear. Alright, what is this one? What is in the other bag? Like, let's open that
Well,
one
first off, he makes sure that you take the scimitar, and he wants to make sure very surely that you understand this is a very precious weapon. He does not want to see it come to any sort of harm. He wants to make that
magical?
very sure. Yes, quite.
Oh.
And he gestures to like right at the base of the sword. There's some inscription that runs around it, and he explains that that's one of the signs of the burning sands of their craftsmanship, that they like, that the creator likes to inscribe things on it. Along with that, that's also one of the activation words for the magical item.
What language is it in Arcane, or is it in Draconic as a magic word?
No,
It's celestial.
in the no, it's in the Kalashite language, which is Up-Ed, I think it is. And it's a really simple word. We'll go through and we'll get creative and make one, but it's with just a little spark of the word. I assume you want to do the honors to kick it on.
Yeah, sure.
All right. The second you say that, the blade starts to glow, and very, almost like a snake, the blade, this little trindle of fire starts spreading up along the blade until the blade starts glowing more and more, and that fire spreads further across the surface of the blade until the entire scimitar is just up like a torch.
I nod approvingly. A fitting weapon for a servant of Tyr.
Quite. All right.
Garzhvog admires the fire, but comments that he wishes it was more green.
Green flame.
Green.
What's it?
Wait, hang on. You know where that's from?
Yeah. It's pretty awesome. All right. Second bag.
All right. And the second one, when they unroll it, it's a cloak.
Oh. Wait, a cloak? I can also use that.
All right. You want to back off of the equipment claiming?
We're just gonna leave him like in the middle of the desert.
Look at all this awesome stuff
Not
I
after
have.
we take everything from him.
Well, if it's a cloak of charisma, then yes, but not otherwise, then I don't need it.
Also needed the charisma.
All right. And so this, he starts explaining, is it was an idea that came from one of their craftsmen after that particular man lost one of his children to the desert. And he believed in second chances, even though the desert doesn't give second chances. Now, this cloak is very special. It looks dusty, even though it's been well wrapped up. It has this kind of really fine red film of dust or grit on it. And when he picks it up and he holds it out, he says, so this is something that might want to go to the more tender of your group.
I look at
So
Inza.
fate.
So it'd be either Fate or Insa, probably.
Well, actually, our orc is also pretty tender. Right?
That is true. I mean, he has gestured to the orc because the orc looks intimidating, so...
This doesn't look the part.
Now tell us, what does it do?
So like I said, he believes in the second chances, and what it does is, well, it keeps you until someone can help you. By that he means, in more of a technical game term, that you won't bleed out. When you hit 0, you stay at 0 as long as you have that cloak on, unless someone comes up and like coup de grace you, but apart from that, so long as you have that cloak on you, you do not bleed. Or bleed out, particularly. And let me go through, there's a specific word for that in the Magic Item Compendium, and it's slipping my mind. But that is what the cloak does.
Slipping my mind?
The cloak
Pretty
of
much.
slipping my mind.
Oh, yeah. I was confused for a second. Okay.
No, but I'm trying to find the exact word for that property of it. But yeah, the idea of it is that so long as you have that cloak on, you will not bleed out, even though if you hit 0. That does not keep you from dying, but it'll prevent you from being a burden on the party.
Given Inza's track record so far,
It's like, technically it's probably not the best, because I'm probably not the most likely to die, but judging from the last 2 sessions.
Here it is. It's styptic.
okay.
The scimitar was actually intended to be something a little bit more powerful than it is. it was going to be kind of the flagship of the Burning Sands clan's craftsmanship abilities. They're going to add more power to it. They're going to make it more beautifully designed, but they think it would be better suited for sating their desire for revenge rather than just be a relic of the old times. So it's just called the Blade of the Burning Sands.
Blade of the Burning Sands.
Mm-hmm.
It was silent.
And
guess
what
I
are the
asked.
stats?
Hello?
Do we know that? Or what does it do? Can you explain it to us?
Yeah, so what that'll do is a
Hello?
basic fire. You can't hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Looks like we might have some issues going on. So it's a basic scimitar in terms of damage, but it does have the addition that when you use that activation word... Uh-oh, looks like Garzhvog can't hear us. And we'll just finish this up really quickly. Whenever you use the activation word, which is the Burning Sands, then it'll do an extra 1d6 fire damage.
Oh, wow. So it's basically instead of 1d6, it's 2d6 if I activate it before.
Yeah.
And it's burning.
And
So
it'll
it's a
also act as
flaming, or how is that called?
It's a flaming.
Flamings? Alright. Wait, that means it has to be a +1, because otherwise it couldn't be flaming, right?
Yeah.
Oh, +1 scimitar. +1 flaming scimitar. Damn.
We're going to end the game there, just after receiving these items from Calim of the Burning Sands clan, and we'll pick up next week for a next recording session and series of videos, and we'll find out how the party gets away from this great storm rolling in out of the Calim Desert.